India and China shake hands, the world notices. That's what Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said after meeting his counterpart, the Chinese premier, as part of a two-day visit to China. Several key issues were discussed, but not a word about internet and cybersecurity was mentioned. As key countries and activists from around the world rewrite the rules of who rules the online world in Bali, China has already created its own versions of social media, like Baidu is their Google, Weibo is their Twitter, QQ is their integrated social network and instant messaging service, WeChat is their WhatsApp version, and many, many more. But here's the catch: you need to be authenticated as a Chinese to access these services. Initially, of course, these companies came up as none of the foreign counterparts aligned with China's censorship demands. But over the years, they have not only allowed China to make billions of dollars in revenue, but more strategically, they've allowed China to carve a pretty big piece of the cyberspace for themselves. That's what we discussed on the social network today, social media in China, lessons for India. And to talk to us a little bit more about that and to make sense of that, we're joined by Probir, who is the founder of newsclick.in, and we're also joined by Jiten Jain, who is a cybersecurity analyst. Okay, Jiten, I want to just start with you first. What do you make of the fact that not a word about something that's becoming so huge now was mentioned at the meetings today?
I think it's completely disappointing that Honorable Prime Minister, when he's on his last visit as a Prime Minister to the China, he has not even spoken a word about the Chinese incident of cyber aggression, espionage or spying attempts or cyber attacks. Everything has been focused on the border defense agreements or the trade, because this is what Chinese and India are interested in. But not even a word of cyber security, that too in an era where cyber aggression is becoming equally important like border aggression. Yeah. And we have seen incidents in May, entire defense secrets from the DRDO servers were stolen, the DRDO officials were compromised, and all the attacks and botnets were traced back to China. And we have absolutely no framework to take up these issues with the China. So Prime Minister ought to have taken up this issue for building up a framework.
Yeah, okay.
Cybersecurity framework
in a sense, we're on a huge back foot. India's on a huge back foot when it comes to cyberspace, because we certainly don't have the infrastructure to set up something of our own. But there are, look at China. They've set up so many companies. They're earning so much revenue. Certainly there are lessons that we can learn from China.
I think there are two separate issues. The fact of cybersecurity that Jiten talked about. We are being invaded both by the United States, the NSA, and by any and other countries that they want. And part of it is because our cybersecurity regimes don't exist. But more than that, I think the most important issue is there is today no regime in the world, international regime in the world, which addresses this issue, and that's the biggest problem. And it doesn't because internet still, there is no legal basis to the internet. It exists by virtue of a private agreement between ICANN and the US Department of Commerce.
Absolutely.
It's not even set up by virtue of an act of the US Parliament.
Yeah.
So that's the legal basis where all these problems start from. The second part of the point that you've raised, and that's really an interesting issue, that today, globally, you are going to shift commerce, you're going to shift communications, and you're going to shift even the media to internet.
Yeah.
If that happens, who controls the space economically is very important, and obviously China has a huge advantage because it built institutions which can act as players by virtue of keeping some players out and by also building an alternate. We have done neither. So I think there are some things to learn from China, some things not to learn from China. I don't think we should do what Chinese have done in terms of censorship, keeping things out and so on. At the same time, we really need to learn how is it that we can promote our own players in this space, because tomorrow it's going to be crucial commercial space, economic space, and also the media space tomorrow. I think that's very important.
And I think this is why it becomes all the more important to at least now take up this issue of bringing entire internet regulating organizations like ICANN under the umbrella of UN. I'm not saying that UN should administer or govern the internet. Information communication should be left absolutely free. There should be no control of any body like even UN. But these institutions like ICANN should come under UN so that tomorrow US does not cite their territorial jurisdiction over ICANN or these servers of Google companies and take away information. Second point, you interestingly raised about these Chinese companies building up their own indigenized social networks. You see, it's an interesting issue. China is not concerned about PRISM because America could not do much spying on China because
you have their own
Chinese don't use Google or other companies like Facebook. They have their own QQ and this thing, and America has no control over that. And now this WeChat, which is their version of WhatsApp, it is now attempting. There have been proven allegations of spying on Indian citizens. So on one hand, they have been able to defend themselves. They have been able to generate a lot of revenue. Tencent, which has bought up WeChat and QQ, is now the third largest company in the world.
Okay, in fact, Jiten, it's interesting you raised that, because of course we've been seeing these huge advertisements about WeChat. In fact, Kabir has sent us his video blogs. He believes that China's internet prowess may be limited just within their own boundaries. Let's listen in.
See, China is looking to become an international superpower. So for that, it's looking to break the shackles of over the internet that is largely controlled by the West till now. And for this, it's looking at various options. It has gone and done cyber attacks. It has shown its power of how it would like to deal with the West's prominence on the internet. And this necessarily does not bode well for India. For India, it's better that the power of the internet remains with the West, because China still cannot be trusted as far as India's interests are concerned.
Praveer, I want to throw that out to you. It's very interesting what Kabir is saying, but I also want to just throw one more point. This whole idea of internet being a space that actually has no boundaries, is that also being compromised now with all of these developments that we're looking at?
Let's stop this fiction that the internet has no boundaries, because you and I are basically bound by sovereign laws of countries that we live in. So are companies. So if we are bound by law and companies are bound by law, internet is also bound by law. So that's a fiction that has been propagated
by America,
mainly by Americans. And let's be very clear again, they will say it about content which is not intellectual property. When it comes to intellectual property, they have the same stand as Saudi Arabia regarding content, or Iran regarding content, or XYZ regarding content. So essentially we are talking about two different kinds of content, and both these two sets of countries are very similar position, except one has an IP, the other has a content as content.
Right.
So this is one part of it.
At one point, now if
I just wanted to respond to one issue. This argument that we have to align with one or the other is a completely, to me, a very strange argument. Why does India have to say we are really incapable of defending ourselves? We either need Chinese protection or American protection. This is an absolutely, I think, the stupid argument. I'm sorry, your person saying it, because I think India is 1.2 billion people. We think we are going to be a superpower. We want a seat at the table, and we say we can only protect ourselves, America protects us. I think this is the mindset we need to get out of, which is why we say, should we go with China or should we go with X or Y or Z? I think we need to build our own institutions. We need to look at cyber security. We need to look at global governance.
I completely agree with him.
Really quickly, Jiten, you have 10 seconds to make your last point.
You see, what I am saying is that first of all, we need to develop our own operating systems, especially for mobile phones, and especially we should take the lead and set up our own examples. We don't need to follow America or China. This country, the world software superpower, time has come. We should have our own cyber security agendas and our own policies.
Hopefully,
and we should not show that our foreign policy in shambles when we don't issue raise up issues like cyber security with China.
And I think Indian government does have a representation at Bali, which is in fact, among many other things, is discussing one of these things. But thank you so much, both of you, for your comments on that particular discussion. The other thing that we're talking about today is Facebook. Now, Facebook is at the center of yet another controversy, this time over a beheading video, which once again was posted on the social networking site, which was alerted to the BBC. Obviously, Facebook seems to have revoked its ban on carrying such graphic videos, which they remember had imposed in May. Now, following news reports, the UK Prime Minister, in fact, tweeted saying it's irresponsible of Facebook to post beheading videos, especially without a warning. They must explain their actions to worried parents. Facebook removes the video, and here is what their latest version of their violent video policy is. In fact, they have said that when we review content that is reported to us, we will take a more holistic look at the context surrounding a violent image or video, and we will remove content that celebrates violence. Secondly, we will consider whether the person posting the content is sharing it responsibly. And third of all, on the basis of these enhanced standards, we have re-examined recent reports of graphic content. So clearly, there is a lot really to talk about on that. In fact, we're joined, we still have Jiten with us, and we're also joined by Shivam, who's the co-founder of Kafala. Shivam, what do you make of this? I mean, this is a debate that's come up with Facebook before, and it's now back to haunt them, and yet it seems like their policy on violent videos is completely klutzy, it's completely clumsy.
Well, the reason why it's clumsy is because Facebook has been very clear that it has these policies not for the benefit of users, but for the benefit of Facebook's commercial interests. And Facebook is trying to compete with Twitter as the place that has the first news, as the breaking news, the first go-to point. And how can it be if it doesn't allow graphic images of the sort that come on social media when breaking news happens, when people say, oh look, this is shocking, here, see. For this reason, Facebook has been experimenting with how it goes and how their interface with the issues around such content and free speech go. All they needed to do, however, was to just copy Google and YouTube how they handle it. I mean, on the video itself, don't wait for the user to say, look, this is a good video, bad video. On the video itself, YouTube will tell you this is graphic image. If enough users mark it as such, automatically it gets marked as something that needs a pre-warning.
All right, so Shivam, I'm going to come back to the how they could actually handle this policy in just a bit. But this whole argument about the free speech around whether they should be able to carry these videos or not. There is a difference between YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, come on. What is holistic about beheading? Is beheading free speech?
No, all right,
this is complete misuse of free speech.
No,
As
Shivam is pointing out, there are elements of news which could potentially needed to be shared. But the argument between the two is that
Ashish,
Facebook
even
is
in the mainstream media, you don't show beheadings. You don't show violent videos.
But these things are far from the debate is far from over, right?
Yeah.
For instance, if there's a beheading video of the Taliban beheading a poor innocent child, and people are sharing it out of outrage.
Yeah.
It might be.
No, it is wrong, because even there are children on Facebook. If they see beheading, it creates sort of terror on the Facebook. Come on.
But until recently, Facebook did not allow
people. This is as good as saying that people are sharing porn movies to say that look, child porn should not happen. This is outrageous.
Let's listen in fact to a blog that has come to us from Pakistan.
Hi, my name is Farhan Hussain, and I'm representing Bytes for All Pakistan. Bytes for All believes that censorship of any evidence of terrorism is a clear violation of people's right to know and access information, with the caveat that access to such materials by minors falls within the realm of parental discretion, which is not the job of any corporation or government.
Shivam, your comment on that?
Well, absolutely. I'm trying to say there could be violent videos of governments, armies,
which need to be shown.
Private actors doing human rights violations, and unless you show those videos, because if you say X army killed 5 people, we are so immune to such news, it doesn't have that impact on us.
Yeah.
And if I really want you to understand how bad this is and killing people, I want to show the video.
Yeah.
Now I completely agree with Jiten here that there are sort of problems here. There are for good reason. The mainstream media
people are concerned about the fact that these videos could land up on their
tomorrow there will be another Muzaffarnagar.
Without them necessarily wanting to share that.
They say happened because social media's role was blamed because they say a violent video was uploaded.
No, but I think that YouTube handles all of this.
Can you show beheading video on the mainstream media? That is the answer.
Okay, clearly
you can't show it.
It's very clear that there is more discussion to be had.
But it's not just about beheading; it's also other kinds of violence.
No, obviously you can't even show shooting videos.
Because of course that video itself brought in then the fact that there could be censorship on other kinds of footage which could also be damaging. But I'm going to have to leave it here. Jiten and Shivam, thank you. I'm going to have to leave it here. But of course, discussion needs to continue on that. Now back home in the political sphere, if you want to have a say in the manifestos of our two main parties, that's only one more reason to get online. Close on the tracks of other political parties like the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress has also launched a website which invites you to be a part of the political process. In fact, Congress Vice President launched that website today at a rally in Rajasthan. The BJP's initiative had, of course, been tweeted about by their Prime Ministerial candidate Narendra Modi in the past. Aam Aadmi Party is obviously also, it's a party that's very active online, so it has in fact advertised that they are inviting suggestions for 70 constituencies in Delhi and to be a part of the manifesto for each of that community. And of course, you can share that on their websites. Just to quickly take you through their page and also look at that's of course the Congress page, which is the incmanifesto.in, and of course right bang on that page is your idea, your suggestion. You can also go into what does your suggestion pertain to? Does your suggestion pertain to a particular region or a state? And of course there are several options over there that you can explore. Over here, this is the BJP website, and that is the place where you can post your suggestion. It's a simple name, email, select category, leave your suggestion. And of course, all the people who are going to be online will be looking at that. Let's take a look at a couple of the tweets that have come in. Narendra Modi has in fact tweeted saying that your voice, your manifesto, urging you to share ideas for 2014 BJP manifesto. Let us work together for a better India. And Nandan Nilekani has also tweeted saying the potential of technology to make our politics more participative. Our national party seeking ideas for the manifestos via portals. So get online, get involved. The elections are just around the corner. All of you can have your say in them. Alright, we slip into a short break now, but after this is good news for all the viewers, especially of the social network. You can actually tweet us live on our show while you're watching our show on your television channels. We tell you how after this break. Alright, so as far as I'm concerned, this is perhaps the most important news of the day. How you can tweet while you're watching the social network? Well, of course, one of the ways in which that you can do that is in fact in India now. It's all about revenue streaming for the future. Airtel Digital TV, which is an arm of the Indian telecommunication company Bharti Airtel, has revealed that it has integrated Twitter with its digital TV offerings for the first time. That's in fact the buzzword in of course the tech world. And it says Twitter arrives in India, and basically what it does is it allows users to actually tweet while watching TV, and they can view their tweets related to other TV shows as well. This has of course been launched on Tuesday, and it's fairly you can be fairly sure that this will come on the other networks, cable networks, pretty soon as well.